Good evening. Happy Monday. Welcome into the number one Group of Five college football show in the history of the world. This is the Group of Five guys. And our mission, needed more than ever, is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, a voice that the mainstream sports media and talking heads absolutely refuse to be. We need your help to do that. Hit the follow button on all the social media platforms at Group of Five Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, share with your family and friends. On this episode, we're licking our wounds. We're taking it on the chin. We are confronting the onslaught that we rightfully deserve. And we react to the two Group of Five college football playoff games. Talk about that. We'll talk about what went wrong. We'll talk about the future and plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. This is the Group of Five guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. The Group of Five guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other. We was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five guys, right?
Troy has won. It's been a winner, and it's a special place. So it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
Jeff, I've never been more proud to show my face in public, my friend.
Oh, that's great.
You remember when the Detroit Lions fans used to do this? The Browns fans would do this here and there.
I think the Saints were the original inventors of the old brown bag fandom. I think is what it was. The Raiders, we've done it a time or two.
The Finns have done it. I've been a part of many fan bases that have done the old brown paper bag over the head. And, look, it was worst case scenario, I think, for, us, for both Tulane, for both James Madison and the Group of Five as a whole, and the narrative as a whole. I think, from the national media perspective, probably got stronger. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the games themselves and what actually went wrong from a standpoint of not necessarily X's and O's, but between the lines type of a thing. And we'll talk about the future, what we think, because I think a lot of people are ready to throw in the towel on this, Jeff, and I can't believe it.
Shame.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are ready for a Group of Five fans and people that have stood strong in the fact that we want and need and deserve access. I think a lot of people have thrown in the towel on that. But
not us.
Hey, there ain't no doubt, buddy. I am even more firm in my beliefs, and almost because of the way that it went down over the weekend. But before we do that, before we talk about the show, I know it's an evening show, and we'll probably be we're probably just moving forward. Probably take a couple weeks off here, just for now that we're, out of the playoff picture. There's some bowl games. We may come on and do a show before the new year next week, but we'll probably take a couple weeks off, and then we'll be doing probably a weekly evening show just once a week. We won't be doing the 3 days a week in the morning, more than likely, but we'll get that squared away in the next couple of weeks. And before we get into the show, all year long, Decker Gray Coffee Company has been supporting us, the official coffee roaster of the Group of Five guys. And look, if you watch this show because you hate the Group of Five and you only know your brand names that Herb Street tells you about, and you're here, thank you. Number one, check out Deca Gray Coffee, right? There's no group of five bias with Deca Gray Coffee. Go to decagray.com, use our promo code. It's GOFG. Now, this is roast to order coffee, okay? So it's not sitting on some shelf at your grocery store or some storage unit, okay? When you click purchase, that's when they roast it. That's when they bag it, ship it directly to your doorstep. They've got whole bean coffee, K cups, and ground coffee, all available in several different flavor blends. Also, Level Sports Picks. College football season is winding down. Sports are not. We are in the thick of it. If you're interested in dabbling in a little bit of sports gambling, make sure you check out that Level Sports Discord. The link is in our bio. You've got NFL on there, NBA, NHL, UFC, boxing, all the things, soccer. So make sure you check out that link in our social media bios. Man, dude. Worst case scenario, the whole weekend too, because
I know.
it started out for about an hour when Bama looked like they were going to get run out of the gym. I was like, best case scenario we could ever have. The baby face of the media is going to get run out of the gym, and then Oklahoma with an all-time collapse. And even when that happened, you watch that game and you're like, man, neither one of these teams are very good. And I still believe that. Neither one of them look very good. And then you watch Miami and Texas A&M, and you're like, a lot of defense, but I mean, and again, like, I can appreciate a good defensive game. You know what I mean? Like, I remember and this is going to sound way off the wall from a group of five guy, but I remember that Alabama LSU national championship, I don't think it was the national championship game. It was the regular season game. And then they played again. I think this would have been 2010, I believe 2011, maybe. It was like 9-6 final score, but I could appreciate that game. Just great defense, and neither defense is willing to budge. Neither defense would break, but you still watch that Miami A&M game and you're like,
it wasn't that. I mean,
this ain't great football here. I mean, you're witnessing a lot of poor throws. You got some very untimely turnovers.
Special teams were horrendous.
Special teams were bad
the Oklahoma punter. I mean, you got to.
He had a tough night.
Tough night, because after that play, after Mateer doesn't run 3 yards to get the first down, throws the backside post, receiver drops it. The very next play, the punter drops the ball on the ground. Bama gets it. They scored that. From that moment, the game was never the same. And then you look at the Texas A&M game, same thing. Special team blunders.
He had some wind in that game, but Miami's kicker missed 3 field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you had. Look, this is besides the point. We got a lot to cover, but then you had a lot of people when Miami scored that touchdown. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, that's low IQ. He should have slid and kicked the game-winning field goal." It's like, bro, it's a tie game.
Yeah.
And your kickers missed 3 of them already, and you're too close. That's a tough angle anyway. You slide down at the 1 yard line and all the way on the, you get points when you could get points. I hate when people do that. But anyway, so that was not great. And I had my hopes up, dude. And then, I mean, Tulane just from the jump, man. You go down, Ole Miss scores in 3 plays. And then, to Tulane's credit, they come right down. They come right back out and drive down the field. And then we saw the Tulane that we've seen all season long. This was Tulane. And it's just, this is the best team that they played. And all of your flaws, boy, do they come to light when you play against really good opponents. And they've struggled in the red zone all year long. They've struggled, with inconsistency at quarterback all year long. They've had drop passes all year long. And we've said it. We've been saying it since about midway through the season. I thought it would bite them against North Texas or against Memphis. And it didn't. But when you're maybe not quite as talented, or you're not, certainly when you're not the far more talented team, all those flaws come to bite you, man. and they bit them. And you give them credit, right? They settled in a little bit, especially on defense. But you can't. I mean, that offensive showing, you can't expect your defense to continue to get stops. And what was 17-3 at halftime. So, hey, that was out of hand, and it was. They were blown out by Ole Miss. But there's been way worse, and unfortunately,
Well, we'll get in.
can't make that argument.
I got plenty of examples of way worse
Yeah.
first half showings, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But the common theme for both teams, really, for Ole Miss and Oregon for that matter, one thing I noticed, both took the ball right off the bat. They won the toss, they took the ball, and they wanted to set the tone. To their credit, they punched Tulane and James Madison right in the face and was like, how are you going to react? And to Tulane's credit, I thought those first couple initial drives were great. It was exactly what we talked about. Take a page out of the academies, control time of possession and turnovers. Their first drive was like a 7-minute drive, something like that. But you have to, that only works if you get points. And they couldn't get points. The red zone issues that they've had all year long that we've talked about showed up. And it does that against a great team. And no doubt about it, Ole Miss is a really talented team, despite not having Kiffin. You got to give Golding his stars. Like, he did a great job getting those guys ready. And same for Oregon. Like I told you this, Oregon was not going to overlook James Madison. That was not going to happen. And they came out, both defenses got gashed early on, explosive play after explosive play. But again, to James Madison's credit, I thought they had great initial drives. But the thing in these games is your mistakes are magnified. You have to play a damn near perfect game to keep up. And you can't expect the defense to just go out there and get stop after stop, because they're just not going to against, just to be honest, a team that is more athletic and bigger than you are across the board. That's just the way it is. And we didn't show up like we needed to. We didn't play the perfect game that we needed to. And that's just the way it goes. But I'm not taking anything away from the incredible seasons that Tulane and James Madison both had, because they both deserved to be there based off of the criteria that was set in place. And they were there. And I promise you, we'll go get into it a little bit later. They're not the only programs in the last 11 years of the college football playoff that have been blown out, and not as bad as that.
Yeah. And for Tulane, like you brought up the Alabama game, right? And Oklahoma had them on the ropes and probably put that game away. But then you have the drop, and then you have the punt scenario.
The horrendous pick six by Mateer.
You got to get the FBI involved with that. I mean, I never seen anything quite like it.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. He thought the receiver was running a hitch, and the receiver runs a go, and the corner's sitting in cover too.
Yep.
And just jumps it and takes it.
It could have been on the receiver. And that's the thing. That's the thing, is you don't know. I mean, you could, and but you mentioned that game, right? And Oklahoma has that game won. I mean, they go score, dagger, ball game. But momentum is a thing, man. It is a real thing. And when you have Alabama and Oklahoma, who are both very similar, probably. I mean, Alabama's probably the more quote unquote talented team. They're probably better if you want to, you want to use all the metrics and things and stars and recruiting and FPIs and SPIs and all that. But they're similar, right? And that one mistake, two mistakes, right, flipped that entire game. And you could say, you look at that game and Oklahoma's up, 17-0, should have been 24-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get outscored 34-7 the rest of the way. And so you look at that final score and you think, okay, I mean, a 10-point game or whatever it was, but it's like, well, really? I mean, he lost 34-7 and a half, in a span of a couple of minutes. But that's besides the point. When you look at Tulane, it was like that, right? At 17-3 or whatever it was, and you got a wide open receiver and you overthrow him.
Yeah, you overthrow him.
And you have a chance to make it a 1-score game going into the half. And maybe you don't win or whatever, but it goes from being, hey, we're in this thing and we're getting the ball out of this half down a possession and we can go score and tie this game up and we'll have all the momentum, or we miss our one opportunity to make this thing a game and we get blown out. And that's the way these games go. I don't think, I saw it's the guy that people say sounds like Josh Pate a little bit. Pickle, JD Pickle,
Yeah.
right? And he came out and he said, like, look, Tulane played, he in his words, that they played pretty well, which I disagree with that completely. But it is a play here and a play there. And I'm not saying you win the game, but a play here and a play there. And instead of 41-10, it's 31-20,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
into the fourth quarter or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And you're in it and you got a shot and you're competitive. And then you're one stop away from having a ball game, but you make those one errors and then you get a couple of drops, you get a couple of fumbles, you get a pretty bad interception. That makes it I mean,
Well,
you
you
lose
just
by
talked
30
about
points, man.
yeah, you just talked about how important momentum is. And that's what these games come down to is momentum swings and mistakes. Because I'll say this, and I'm not afraid to say it. One of the biggest differences between the group of 5 and the power 4, if you want to make that distinctions, and really it really has nothing to do with that. It's great teams and good teams is what it is. Great teams capitalize on other teams' mistakes and they don't miss opportunities like that post route. They just don't. And Tulane is a very, very good team, but they missed that opportunity. They missed other opportunities in that game. And, another argument I've heard was like, oh, JMU, yeah, they put up 500 yards of offense, but the majority of it was in garbage time. It's like, they had over 200 yards at halftime. And a game, I know the score was what it was at halftime, but that was against their ones over 200 yards. And I don't care who you are. You score 500 yards in any game of offense. Like, again, it's a few plays here and there, especially early on, where James Madison and Tulane have never been in a game of that magnitude. They just haven't.
Yeah.
Oregon has. Ole Miss has played in bigger games with more magnitude than they have. Like, that's what a piece that I feel like nobody's talking about is the experience guys and programs and coaches and staff, like all of it together, get from playing in big time, meaningful games. Like that carries over, especially when those players stay, which more often than not at the bigger programs that can afford to pay these guys, they do stay. They have more continuity on their roster. It's like, you don't think all these guys at Tulane and James Madison learn things about the process leading up to during the game that's going to carry over into next year? 100% it's going to. So there's so many little facets of all these things. Like, oh, they don't deserve to be there. This was a waste. This is bad for football. All the things about it. Okay, well, if you completely just take away complete access to it, yeah, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get these kids this experience and this opportunity. Like, people are like, oh, I feel bad for these players in the group of 5. Don't feel bad. They don't feel bad. They went out there and played their ass off. Like, you're diminishing what they did on the field. Don't do that to them. Like, they knew what they signed up for and they wouldn't change it for anything in the world, despite you didn't like what you saw on TV for whatever reason, because you didn't say that last year against Tennessee when they got blown out. You didn't say that last year against Oregon when they got blown out. You didn't say that a few years back when Georgia beat TCU 65-7. You didn't say that when Bama beat Michigan State 38-0. You didn't say that when Clemson beat Bama 44-16. So I'm just
Jeff, they did. Hold on. Let me debate you. They did say it for TCU. Psst. They did say it for TCU only because TCU, they forgot, was not in the group of 5 anymore, even though TCU beat Big Bad Michigan the week before. But anyway, back to James Madison a little bit, because it's interesting because that game got away from James Madison a little quicker than the Ole Miss got away from Tulane. But I thought James Madison, they kept doing what they do. And they weren't going to win it, but say what you want, they fought back and made it. If you're Oregon, you were feeling a little bit like, what are we doing here in the fourth quarter? Early in that fourth quarter, they make it, I think, a 3-score game, and you're like, come on, man. We thought we had this. Now we can't relax as much. And I thought James Madison, again, same thing though. Their first drive, Oregon goes right down, dude. And we're just like, but then same thing. James Madison goes right down the field, but they only get 3. They go get 7 right there. They go up 7-6.
Yeah, you have to.
You just never know what might happen. And like all the arguments, like what you were just saying, is people you can pick and choose, right? Like, and I know, hey, Tavares, if you're watching, it's a lazy argument. I get it. You don't want to hear us talk about Tennessee, but like, if you're Tennessee, you look at that game, right? And it's 21-0, like 8 minutes into the game. So you could look at that and be like, that game was over with in a couple minutes. Or you could look at it and say, okay, but then it was only, what was it, 28-10 at halftime? So you're like, okay, well, they're still in at halftime. Or you could go look at the final score and be like, no, they got beat 49-10 or whatever it was. So you can like pick out these, like for Tulane, it's like, yeah, that game was 14-0 immediately. They were blown out. But then you'd be like, 17-3 at half. There's been 17-3 comebacks before.
Well, you just saw 17.
You saw Alabama come back 17-0.
Yeah.
And then if you're on the James Madison side, you could be like, they were in it a little longer, but then it was a worse margin at halftime. But then like they made it a little closer. Either way, look, I get it, man. Both teams got, we talked about it, the margin. You cannot make any mistakes. You just can't. You have to capitalize on every opportunity you get. Now, here's what I'll say, and I know nobody likes when you bring up the other games. They got blown out, but we knew they were going to get blown out. The problem that I have is you can't use 2025 Tulane and their one game against Ole Miss as an indictment for 60 other schools 10 years from now. They got nothing. They have zero to do with each other, right? Many people will say when we bring up the Tennessee thing, well, Ohio State, you're right. Nobody was beating Ohio State that year. They were rolling. They were hot at the right time. But we don't know if Oregon or Ole Miss is about to go on a run like that. Oregon very well might. I mean, I think a lot of people would say Oregon's a pretty good pick to win the whole thing. And so if Oregon goes on a run and wins the national title, will we then have that same thing to say about James Madison?
Mm-hmm.
We will. Will the national media? No. They'll forget all about James Madison. And then next year, when it's a totally different team from a totally different conference with totally different players, they'll say, we saw what happened to James Madison last year. It's like, okay, but this is UNLV. It's like, it says there's not one single thing is similar here. And that's my issue is if Oregon can be on the wrong end of a blowout last year, and you put them right back in without batting an eye, which they should be in both years. They deserve it. They earned it. They're very good. They might win the whole thing this year. So you can't make an indictment on the entire group of 5 for Tulane and James Madison in 2025 if you're not going to make an indictment on, how many years in a row did we see Notre Dame get blown out?
Sprouse, I got the perfect stat for you, Sprouse.
Let me hear it.
Would you say Oklahoma is a worthy program of being in the playoff?
I mean, they're in it as much, if not more, than anybody else.
Okay, you know what the record is in the CFP?
Let me hear it, Jeff. Is it 0-5?
It's 0-5. They're 0-5. So if you want to talk about anybody, like nobody's saying that Oklahoma doesn't belong because their track record shows they don't belong. But I agree with you. You can't look at Oklahoma and say that they're 0-5 and say that they don't belong just because they've been 0-5. Like you can't. But to the standard of the media right now, like that's a perfect example. But since of the patch on their chest and the brand and all these things, and let's not forget, let's not pretend like Oklahoma is this SEC powerhouse. Buddy, they're the Big 12, whether they have the patch on their jersey or not. Same with Texas, who was on the cusp that everybody was so upset about that them and Notre Dame didn't get in.
Yeah.
So
did you hear everybody saying now Texas A&M is a fraud? They didn't play anybody. That's what they said after they lost to 6th place ACC Miami. They lost 10-3. So like that's the argument, right? And again, it's just a different subject, but like these guys, somebody said these SEC hardos, like, like, how can you be a fraud based on your weak schedule, but you went 7-1 in the SEC? So you got to pick one, right? You can't have both. I'm with you if you're telling me, well, yeah, they didn't play Alabama or they didn't play Georgia or they didn't play so and so, but then maybe when you talk about these, they got this many SEC wins or this many P4 wins. Maybe we need to take away that and look at individual programs and individual teams and individual rosters. Because again, I've said this before, conferences are not good. Teams are good. And a conference might have multiple good teams, but every conference has multiple really bad teams. And we know that. And like I want to go another step, right? Because now where do we go from here? Right? Oh my God, Tulane and James Madison got blown up. First of all, people are like, we've never seen a group of 5 team be competitive. First of all, there's only been 4. They act like this thing, this auto bid has been going on there's only been 4 group of 5 teams ever in the playoff, 3 total in this 12 team. Boise State was very competitive. Anybody that tells you that game wasn't competitive is an idiot. And maybe they didn't watch it because they think, what they think is unwatchable.
The final score.
They look at the final score and they look at it. Oh, it was whatever it was, 14-0 off the jump. But we've said it before. They missed 2 field goals, and if it's and buts, I get it. They missed 2 field goals. If they make even one of them, they get 1 stop, and it's a 1 possession game, and they've got the ball in the fourth quarter. All the momentum. I mean, they were stopping Penn State. But anyway, that's besides the point. So that game was competitive. The Cincinnati Alabama game was competitive for what it's worth, and not to make excuses, but you're talking about the 4-team playoff right there, and you're talking about Saban, Bama, prime Saban, Bama, and we've done the numbers before. Saban's career average of margin of victory is 21 points, and that's what that game was. So they performed like everybody else did.
Hold on, Sprouse. That's not 21 points against the group of 5. That's 21 points against every single team they have played during his tenure.
To include SEC championship games. But so here's the thing, and here's the reason why you have to have. I'm all for it. Like everybody's saying, I'm all for, group of 5 can get in, but they have to be in the top 15. Okay. But let's not pretend like they're going to keep them like they do anyway. They're never going to be in until the last week of the season. They're going to be like, okay, let's rank a group of 5 team 24 just to say we have a ranked group of 5 team. So you'll never get there.
Not only will they never get there, Sprouse, they are actively dropping quality group of 5 programs off of their schedule because to these Power 4 schools, it's a lose-lose situation. They don't get credit for beating a good group of 5 team because of the polls and the media. And then if they lose to a quality group of 5 team, that looks like, oh my gosh, you're not a good team. So they're actively dropping the South Floridas, all these top group of 5 programs year in and year out. They're just taking them off the schedule. They're just buying them out, saying, here's your 250, 500K. We don't want to play you. We'll go pick up Indiana State or whoever it is, McNeese State, and we'll play them.
Yep. Well, and Jeff, and they've got to get rid of that as any type of metric, because this is what I said right before we did when we were at the American Championship game and we were talking to Tim Pernetti, is Tulane beating Memphis is a much better win than beating Northwestern or Duke. But that's not how anybody, committee, AP, anybody looks at it. They just see, P4 win, Big Ten win. You know what I'm saying? Memphis is better than Northwestern. We know that. Memphis is better than Duke. So you can't, that metric P4, you're just, I hate encompassing every program in this thing, because Georgia and Arkansas are so far apart, farther apart than Georgia and Memphis.
100%.
So that's what kills me about the whole like P4 thing. And you know, I don't think we'll ever get every conference champion in. But the problem I have is we've talked about this within conferences where you might have an all-time great group of 5 team. And it might just happen to be the same year that somebody else has an all-time great group of 5 team, and you might miss. I mean, you look at a UNLV team from a year ago. That team probably makes the playoff this year.
Mm-hmm.
They just ran into Boise State twice last year, an all-time really good Boise State team. And so that's why you can't put this as an indictment. This year, yeah, dude. I mean, we got up here saying Tulane was maybe not better than James Madison. You know what I mean? And John Summerall got up there and said, I don't know, if we're top 25, then not a lot of people are very good, which I agree with. I don't think a lot of people are very good. But so maybe this year they weren't very good. But if you don't have the auto bid and you use this year as a metric for 5 years from now, then you'll never get in. Because in 5 years, a Tulane team that goes 11-1 or 10-2 or 11-2 or whatever might be really, really good. And it might be the same year that Memphis is really, really good. I mean, dude, South Florida was really, really good this year. And they didn't win the conference. And honestly, like, sorry, Jeff, I'm going all over the place. I always do this. I get too fired up. But when they make the argument about the 12 best teams, and it's not the 12 that are, but I don't think anybody would tell you that guy for guy, body for body, 11 for 11, South Florida wasn't the best team in the American. I don't think anybody would deny that. And if Team A plays their A game and South Florida plays their A game in the group of 5 in the American, I think South Florida beats everybody. But they didn't. So they didn't get in. And so that's my argument against these other conferences. Yeah, Texas, if they play their A game and Tulane plays their A game, Texas probably beats Tulane. But we've seen Texas 3 times, 4 times not play their A game. So they don't get in. And you just, I don't know, man. I'm worried for what's going to happen in the future. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like they're going to use this performance, both these performances, as a reason to just take away the auto bid. And like, if that's what they decide to do, fine. If we get ranked in the top 12, we deserve to be in regardless. I agree with that sentiment. If we're good enough to crack the top 12, of course we should get in. But you mentioned the issue with the rankings, number one, as being flawed and biased. But let me just go. I want to go to something because I tweeted something yesterday, Sprouse, and it's got a lot of people riled up. I tweeted yesterday that because all across social media, right after the James Madison Oregon game, all you kept hearing was the G5 being in the playoff is bad for the sport. You just heard that over and over and over. Booger McFarland and his crooked ass fingers was up there on ESPN and just this game should have never happened. This is bad for the sport. And all I tweeted was, if you're claiming that the G5 being in the playoff is bad for the sport, but at the same time not mentioning uncapped NIL, unlimited transfer portal, and bloated conferences, then you're a clown. Because you're complicit in the erosion of college athletics, in my opinion. Like, if you're only just blaming solely why this playoff was bad because the group of 5 was in it, you're discounting the last 5 years of this wild, wild west, just unregulated, unlimited free agency that no other sport on planet Earth operates like. And people are like, oh, well, the MLB, they don't have a salary cap. Yeah, but they have contracts. And guess what? When the player and the team agree to a contract, they sign it. And that player's there for 6, 8, 10 years. Whatever the duration of his contract is, he's there. He can't just go 1 year and make $5 million and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to shop this to the New York Yankees because I know they got a big payroll and they'll probably pay me. Like, that doesn't happen in any other sport. So it's like we're blaming the group of 5 for taking up 2 spots because Notre Dame and Texas didn't get in, even though we saw Notre Dame and Texas all year. but yet nobody's talking about the complete broken system that it is of college football and college athletics as a whole. That nobody is stepping in, nobody's being an adult in the room and being like, this is a problem because this isn't good for anybody except the elites, which the elites are the big brands in the Big Ten and the SEC who are driving this entire process because the rich get richer. They have the donors, they have the money. And then people are like, oh, well, this has brought parity to college football. Texas Tech, look at them. Look at Vanderbilt. You just named 3 to 5, maybe 6 teams out of 140 whatever programs that Division I college football has now. Like, so you're saying that 5 or 6 teams are a little bit more competitive, but still yet have never sniffed the playoff? Their success outweighs the greater good, 95+% of college football? That doesn't make sense. So all I'm saying is, yeah, that James Madison and Tulane, they didn't play their best ball. They didn't play perfect, and they got boat raced. I'm okay with saying that. But to completely say that they shouldn't be involved in the process at all, and that everyone you talk to, coaches, admin, players, is like, man, we really got to get we got to get control of this situation and culture. Somebody needs to step up. But yet in these moments, nobody wants to think about the ramifications that NIL and transfer portal has had, not only on college football as a whole, but specifically on the group of 5. Because just imagine if the players couldn't transfer because they were locked into their NIL deal that they agreed to. And everybody's like, oh, well, you just want to keep young people from making money. No, I don't. I want people to know their worth, find a happy home. But I'm sorry, this is how the real world works. Like, you sign a contract, you're obligated to do your part of that contract. Unless a coach leaves or something like that, there'll be stipulations. But the system's broken and nobody's talking about it. Everybody's just glazing over it and saying that, well, the group of 5, they shouldn't be involved.
You know, one other thing that got me a little, I kind of took it a little personal is, when Portnoy got on there and was talking trash about the D tackle from James Madison and like him being slow or something, which, first of all, Dave, you expect an interior defensive lineman to run down a skill guy on the perimeter? Like, it's incredible that the guy's even near the play from an interior guy. And those type of things, like, I get it, man. I get it. The world now revolves around clicks and impressions and engagements. Like, we talk about that. We talk about that all the time. Like, okay, do we want to say what we think, or do we want to say something that's gonna go viral or go and get engagements or whatever? And I get where Barstool and those guys come from, but it drives me off the wall when they make it seem like a guy that's playing defensive tackle for James Madison in a college football playoff game is like some, like some Make-A-Wish case or something like that. Like they just the disrespect, man. Because here's what I know, Jeff. I know how good or not good I was as a player, and I know how much better guys on our team were than me that I played behind. And I know how much work all of us put in. And I know there's not a person that works for Barstool that could outrun that freaking defensive tackle.
No doubt.
And like just the way that they disrespect guys that are not, and it's not just they work hard, so we gotta respect them. These are good players. Like, again, there's so many guys on that roster that are going to be playing in the NFL or more than likely playing at Indiana or UCLA next year, and Barstool is going to be freaking slobbering all over them to get them on the show and talking about how good they are. Pavia is a perfect example of it. I hate bringing him up all the time, but nobody knew who he was. And if you heard about a 5'9" quarterback from New Mexico State, they would have been blasting him left and right. But he goes to Vanderbilt. No, now he's in Nashville, and now Theo Vaughn talked about him once. Now, oh my God, this guy's the best thing ever. But we've talked about it before. Yet somehow that guy goes to Vanderbilt, a perennial bottom feeder, and turns them into contender in the best conference in football, from what I've been told. So just
And
the
beat
way
Tennessee
that
this year.
what's that?
And beat Tennessee this year, by the way.
By quite a bit.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Always love that. But but that's where it is. It's like they disrespect guys and they call them out on like stuff that's like we thought he was running funny. He's a freaking 300-pound defensive tackle, dude. Dave, please, Dave Portnoy, you run. Let's put it on video. Let's see. I think they are actually.
Sprouse, you know who else they said ran funny?
Who's that?
A guy named Harold Fannin Jr.
I was told he was stiff and unathletic. That's what I was told.
They literally said he ran funny is with the words. Well, the guys just broke I think the rookie record for receptions for the Cleveland Browns on a pretty hoarded team, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and like that's it. And funny enough, one of the clips that was being posted about him running funny and being stiff was against Texas A&M, which he had a field day against, by the way. And they damn near beat Texas A&M last year. But it's just funny how that goes, right? And now they're gonna love him because he's on their fantasy team, and that's where, look, man, I get it. We got the partnership, and I get it, and that's where fantasy football, and you've got these fantasy football nerds and sports gambling nerds. They just have a different way of watching ball, and it drives me freaking nuts, man. It drives me freaking bonkers, dude.
Well, to the last point that I feel like the media is just beating home or trying to beat home is that they're never going to win a college football playoff championship. They're not going to win. So why even include them? Well, Sprouse, post BCS, the first year was 2014. You know how many teams in 11 years have won a national championship in the college football playoff?
How many, Jeff? Not 11.
6.
Oh, that's interesting.
You have Clemson, you have Alabama, you have Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, and LSU. So it's just funny how the Power Four automatically gets the benefit of the doubt that they have a chance to win it. They could actually win the college football playoff. Well, I'm just going off the last 11 years. It's been a thing, and there's been 6 teams that won it. And every one of those teams on that list, we have talked about since the genesis of this podcast, has been one of the big brands
being different,
that they're just physically different.
Yep.
They're physically different than everybody. At least they have been in the last probably 10 years.
Yep.
So we'll wait and see this year. Maybe Oregon can make the jump, but I just love how everybody else, because they got a patch on their jersey, gets the benefit of the doubt that they have a chance to win it. But no, the group of 5 can't get in. They have no shot. They have a 0% chance. Can't do it.
And that Jeff goes to a bigger point, and we sort of halfway joke about it, right? We put the little poem out over the weekend about coming for the other conferences. A couple people were upset about that, and but what these fans are not realizing, fans of schools, I think some of them do. I think the Big 12 people kind of get it. I think the ACC people are really figuring it out. I think anybody that was part of the old Pac-12 kind of gets it, is you're not going either. Like when it comes to, when it comes down to it, those 6 teams you just talked about that have won the championship, that's who they want in this thing. And they want them in every time. And eventually, and like you look at your Big 10 schools, you look at Purdue, you look at Illinois, they're not getting in. They're never going to get in. So to me, it's like, okay, but if those schools can have a sliver of hope every year that if they go all in on NIL and they try to get a roster, kind of like Texas Tech did this year, that they can get in, then damn it, so should Tulane and so should James Madison. You know what? Hey, we probably won't win it. We probably never will win it. But again, you look at those 6 teams post BCS, they go into BCS. How many more teams is it? Who else has won? USC, that was 30 years ago. Miami 30 years ago. Nebraska 40 years ago. Like, still the same teams have been winning. It's not like these other teams have been winning before.
Will Compton will go on his Bustin' with the Boys podcast and say Nebraska's back every single year until about week 6 or 7.
every year, and they'll spend all their money in it. They'll have all the resources, they have all the stuff, and they'll never beat Ohio. And every year they'll play Ohio State, and they'll go. Big noon kickoff will go. Game day will go, and every time Ohio State beats them by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and then next year we get to do it all again every time. And we all know, right? If they get in, they're not winning it. Everybody knew Oklahoma wasn't going to win the whole thing. Like Vandy, people say, "Oh, Vandy could have got hot." Everybody knows Vandy was not winning the whole thing.
No.
I mean, and so, I don't know, dude. But anyway, who you rooting for the rest of the way? That's the thing. I mean,
I'm rooting for James Madison 2.0.
I
want Indiana to win the entire thing because they're doing it with James Madison's coach, a
lesser brand
that has been a football bottom feeder in the Big Ten forever. And Coach Signetti comes in, brings all his guys from James Madison over. It's just funny how that works.
Yeah.
And I know there's other pieces that were there at Indiana that they recruited to come there, but Surratt, Pons, all those guys, those are James Madison guys, dude. Those are James Madison guys, and they're the number 1 team in the country. I hope they win it all. And I hope Mendoza goes to the Raiders at the number 1 pick next year. And then we have Genty and Mendoza in the backfield. That's what I hope.
Really? Yeah, I mean, obviously I got to pull for the Canes, Jeff.
Oh, of course you do.
What a tide that has turned where people are going to be rooting for Miami, like the casual fan. Typically, 20 years ago, like anybody but Miami would be like the sentiment. People are going to be rooting for Oregon, for Miami,
Indiana,
because everybody sees the writing on the wall, and even like you look at last year, like people are rooting for Ohio State and Notre Dame because of the way the media has done this SEC stuff. But anyway, we got a couple voicemails we got to get to, Jeff.
We do. I had one other point I was wanting to make, but I can't freaking remember. Oh, I got a question for you before we get to voicemails, real quick.
Yeah. Let me hear it.
Because there's no way that this system we got, Sprouse, is sustainable. So I'm going to pose this question to you. At what point, because you saw Dillingham basically go out and beg any donor in the city of Phoenix, Arizona to drop a $20 million check to Arizona State. At what point is donor fatigue going to set in? Because typically, from my knowledge and my experience with very wealthy people, is they do not make bad investments. If they make one, they won't make it again. So at what point, and we just talked about the 6 brands in the last 11 years that have won the college football playoff, at what point do the big time donors say, I'm not giving any more money? It's been 5-10 years. You haven't even sniffed the college football championship. I'm done. I'm out. How quickly do you think that happens?
Here's the problem, Jeff, is I think that happens with places like Arizona State. And like the same dude has been funding Auburn, the guy that owns a lumber company, has been funding Auburn forever. And I think the only thing that keeps them that I would argue against your point about making like a bad investment is they love it to be their little like social gathering. Yeah, they love to be able to go sit in the suite and everybody knows
he's the guy.
I run the show around here. I'm the one that calls the shots. But I think, like at some point when it comes to NIL, it's like, if I'm giving it, I mean, dude, we guys like young alumni have gotten donor fatigue at middle for paying a couple $100 every year.
No doubt.
Being like, what the hell's happening? We ain't doing anything with this. And that's not for NIL. That was for, facilities and all those things. So you got to imagine it happens. I mean, and why wouldn't it, right? It's like, okay, I want my alma mater to be really good, so I'm going to drop a check. But yeah, only one team's winning it. And so how many times, and what's the real return, right? There's really not. That's the thing about it. Like, okay.
Well, he said he's going to make you the most popular man in Phoenix. Is what Dillingham said.
I mean, well, we probably don't have time for this, but I actually have a little bit of an inside scoop on this kind of thing, right? Of what's happening at some of the larger brand schools in this very situation is like, let's just say, Jeff, you're an alumni of, well, let's use middle because we know this ain't happening at middle. So we'll use middle because we know this is not happening there. Yeah, let's say Domenico's right turns into freaking McDonald's and you got 400 stores across the country and you are the guy, right? And everybody knows you're, alumni, you're an alumnus of Middle Tennessee. And there's a way to funnel you business. Okay. A restaurant's probably a bad example, but we'll go with it. So just say Coach Mason is like, dude, we need a left tackle bad. They're going to get you on the horn and they're going to get somebody else that's in a high powered position at another company, whatever other company could give you business.
Yeah.
That would make your like very lucrative amount of business. They're going to get on a call and say, hey, look, Jeff Murphy is going to donate $15 million towards our NIL. Your company is going to give him this contract worth X millions of dollars that you would probably give to somebody else, but you're going to give it to them because he's going to make this decision. We're going to get this triangle. And so, hey, you company that like, you're going to make that investment either way with a company either way.
Yeah.
We're going to give it to Jeff's company because he's going to give money here. For you, company B, you're getting suites at all the games. You're getting all the access. You're getting sideline passes for the wife and kids. You're getting access to tour the facility. You get to tell everybody you're, big baller in Murfreesboro. So that's happening at these places, which call me crazy. I feel like it's very illegal, not only from an NIL standpoint, but of like a, trade commission standpoint.
Who knows?
But it's happening 100%. It's happening. So, I mean, Dillingham, he might have just indicted himself, but it's like, this stuff is happening at these bigger schools. So that's where I don't necessarily know that the donor fatigue would happen because it's like, well, whatever. I gave a bunch of money, but my company got this big contract that we wouldn't have gotten without Kirby Smart getting on the phone.
Fair point.
I don't know. We got a couple of voicemails.
And I have not proofed these. And I know Stu's right, had a two-parter. So earmuffs potentially if you're
well, 615-900-4286 is the number. Look, I mean, you could call it like if we get a bunch, we'll come back on, next week and do another show if we just get a ton of voicemails of, takes from the games or where to go from here with the group of five, but see what we got.
Hey, boys. Stu's right from Twitter. Couple things, several things, actually. And, Jeff, forgive me, this might be two parts. First thing, fuck ESPN. Fuck the mainstream media. I know that Tulane and JMU got blown out. But that doesn't negate the fact that, I'm ESPN. I own the playoffs. We own the fucking committee that makes the playoffs and all those dumb things. And everybody in the college football world, parentheses, is pissed off because Tulane and JMU are in. The reason that JMU and Tulane are in is because of the rules that ESPN and those jerk-offs made. It's based on the rules. They qualified because of the rules. And I hate it for them. I hate it for them that JMU and Tulane qualified. Sorry that if, I don't know, maybe if Notre Dame was in the ACC, it wouldn't have been that way. Well, fuck Notre Dame. I didn't know that I could hate Notre Dame as much as I do. If I had known that, I would have pulled for Dan Devine to not play Rudy. I would have pulled for and bet on Georgia Tech to beat Notre Dame that day. Dan Devine should have never played Rudy. He should have never gotten in there and gotten a sack. I hate Notre Dame. I didn't realize that I could hate Notre Dame this much. I do. I hate them. I know that I'm running out of time. Jeff, I'm going to call you right back and finish this voicemail. Hey, boys, Stu's right from Twitter, part 2 here. I still hate Notre Dame. Fuck Notre Dame. 90% of college football would have gotten beat by Ole Miss the way they played today, and 90% of football would have gotten beat by Oregon the way they played today. They decided that they're going to put them both on TNT, and they're going to put them up against the NFL so that ESPN and all the pundits can justify, oh, nobody watched the game, oh, nobody paid attention because it was the group of five. No, nobody paid attention because they put them up against the NFL, and the NFL reigns supreme, and college football has kowtowed to the NFL forever. I hate it. 90% of college football teams would have gotten beat by Ole Miss and Oregon the way that they played today. That doesn't mean that JMU didn't deserve to be in there. I hate JMU. I can't stand JMU. They deserve to be there. I don't particularly like Tulane. They deserve to be there. It kills me. And I'm so sick and tired, and I hate ESPN, and I've tweeted at them, and I encourage everybody that listens to you to tag ESPN in their tweets and tell them how much you fucking hate them, because they don't even put the yellow line for the first downs on the ESPN Plus broadcast. ESPN is a fucking clown show, and I can't stand them, and I hate them, and I hate that ESPN is a playoff, and I hate that ESPN is guaranteed Notre Dame a spot if they play 12 schools of the blind, and they're on the top 12. They're guaranteed a spot next year. I hate ESPN. I hate the Power 5. I hate everything about them. I hope that y'all have a wonderful holiday, a Merry Christmas. Call me, text me. I'll talk to you over New Year's. I'll be at a casino, hopefully gambling, winning. I love you boys. Sprouse, Murph, even the old school guys like Swag and Swag Bear and fucking Tip. Love you guys. Shout out Terry Johnson. Shout out Jay Judkins. Shout out Zach Brenner. Shout out all the OGs. Love you guys. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Love you, Stu.
Love you too, Stu.
He's right. I mean, that's exactly why they put him on TNT, because not only are you going up against the NFL, you know how many people don't have TNT on their subscription nowadays? Whereas,
well, and not only, and this is nobody's fault really, but not only is it the NFL, but you had major playoff implication game, Packers Bears on, which I had to go to the other room to watch James Madison, Jeff, just so everybody knows.
Your family's Bears fans.
Yeah, Chicago folks. So, but you're putting a rivalry game that has a ton of meaning in prime time, which, that's a whole nother issue. Why, number one, the college football season should be moved up. And then number two, they got to figure out the schedule to not compete with the NFL. I mean, why would you? Of all the times to care about ratings and those things, it's like, why are you trying to compete with the NFL? You could be getting ready for a national championship game next weekend and then let the NFL playoffs get started. Instead, just like last year, it's going to be end of January or 3/4 of the way through January. It's going to be like, oh, we still got a national championship to play. And everybody's kind of checked out by then.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. The FCS, they're done, aren't they?
They're they got the national championship game. Illinois State, by the way, unranked, heavy underdogs in every game of the season. And somehow they've won a couple of games in the playoffs.
That's not the same. It's not the same.
By the way, did you see the scene in Bozeman, Montana?
Oh, it's cracking.
We got to get those guys into the
no
group
doubt.
of 5
well,
ASAP.
Also, Sprouse, I have been told by my beautiful wife, Scarlett, that we are going to Laramie, Wyoming next year for a game.
Who is?
We are.
Hey, man, I'm ready.
Come on.
You're paying the bill. Yeah, we got to get out there. But, that's the other thing, too, is you see those scenes, man. You saw how Norman was. By the way, beautiful. 50 Cent came out, huh?
That was pretty
big
tight.
50 Cent fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially that song, too. But, you saw the scene in Oxford.
Just put out on Netflix. That was pretty interesting.
What's that?
The Diddy doc. He put out
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, you got to watch it. 50 Cent is a whole different level of pettiness. I didn't know existed.
I love the guy.
Love him. I love him even more.
I mean, that guy's still beefing with Ja Rule from the little thing that they had in 2000.
It's great.
But you see those scenes, and I'm not saying that anybody should have had one or not. But I look back at last year, and I think Boise was a perfect example. I'd have rather them had a home game
Yeah.
the first round of the playoffs than get that bye week. Not only for the time off, but just you think the scenes in Oxford and Autzen, and Eugene and Norman were cool. Like, buddy, put a home playoff game in Boise or anywhere. I mean, dude, like Tulane is not known for like its great crowds, right? And we've been a few times and they've been great every time we've been. But you want to talk about you put a playoff game there,
No doubt.
it'd be like something you've never seen before.
Sprouse, by the way, I gotta bring this. I meant to bring this up earlier. I am blaming the college football playoff committee, whoever it is that approves and denies media credentials. Tulane lost because we were not there.
That's right.
We are undefeated at Tulane's games when we are in attendance.
That's correct.
And the CFP and Ole Miss's media director, whoever approves it, looked at our thing and was like, "Group of 5, we're not letting them in. We're going to deny."
What he did, I'll tell you what he did. He saw it come across Group of 5 guys, and then you know how you have to put your social handle in those? He went to Twitter and he saw a retweet that said Group of 5 guys 3-0 at Tulane, and he was like, "Oh, nope."
That's exactly right.
Mark them off. Anyway, what else we got? One more voicemail?
Yeah, let's get to our last one.
Group of 5 guys, thanks as always for letting me drop in. This is Sean from just outside of Pittsburgh. While I wish I was calling to rant or try to pump up the United States Air Force Academy's bowl game, unfortunately that game doesn't exist this year, but we got the other 2 academies in, so we'll see what happens. But I'm watching the Harding Ferris State game, finally getting to watch it on recording, and it made me think about someone to ask you all and get your thoughts on. And I think you touched on it briefly, but why don't more schools just swallow their pride and go with some variety of triple option, flex, wing tee? I think there's a blueprint from the academies, and I know it's not the same model of athlete or young man that goes into these schools to play it, but I think there's a blueprint there that isn't just solely applicable to those academies. Johnson did it at Georgia Tech, and obviously there's been some other cases, but NIL certainly complicates it. But beyond pride, curious your thoughts why we don't see more of that at some of these difficult to recruit places. And from the triple option to the Holy Trinity, it's Christmas coming up, gentlemen, and Matt, Jeff, I want to wish you and your families just the merriest of Christmas. You guys just provide such a wonderful platform here, and just all the callers, Terry's people, I enjoy it all so much. I want to wish all of them a Merry Christmas as well. But you gentlemen, time is our currency, and none of us have enough of it here, and you all poured into this platform, and I just want to express my sincerest gratitude for that. So thank you, and it certainly would be remiss too if I didn't just impart the thought around what we're celebrating here, right? Jesus didn't come as Santa Claus. He came as the Savior of the world, right? He entered this world. Humanity is God's saving grace, and he did so just as it said in John 1:4. God came to us, in him was life, and God came to us because we could not go to him. Man, if that don't get to you, I don't know what will. I bet you all would crawl through broken glass for Coach Stock, and we hear that remark made a lot about a lot of really good leaders and coaches. If we could feel that way about a coach, man, we should be able to feel that way about Jesus, right? He came into this world because we could not go to him. If that don't get you chasing your soul, I don't know what will. Again, Merry Christmas, gentlemen. Thanks for all that you do. God bless you. God bless the Group of 5 guys.
Amen, Sean. Appreciate you, brother.
Amen. Merry Christmas to you too, sir.
To his question, and then we'll get out of here. You're seeing a lot more, and you saw it a ton on Saturday night with James Madison. You see a lot of triple option principles now, but they're coming out of the shotgun formation as opposed to being under center. I want to give a huge shout out to Dean Kennedy, offensive coordinator for James Madison. He was in his bag all night.
He was.
And with formation shifts and motions, I mean, some of the read option stuff that he was doing that is an extension of the run game as an RPO. Like, it was just, I enjoyed it a bunch. And I think there's something to that, Sean.
I think there is too. And a little bit too, like Chadwell was doing that a lot. Coastal with Grayson McCall, they ran that out of the gun, that like a pass option type style offense was really gave teams a lot of problems. I think too, interesting as he was asking the question, I was thinking you get a lot of receivers and quarterbacks that don't want to play in it. However, you could go all in NIL on O-line and running backs and an athlete that wants to just play QB, wants to get a guy out of high school that's been running it or something. That's like, I know I'm not playing in the league. I know. And then I think like James Madison and like Coastal and them used to do is like you can have both because for James Madison and most of their Sunbelt games, they're going to be the more athletic, like they're going to be the more quote unquote talented team. But if you have those principles, like you said, Jeff, then when you do get to the playoff, you can really lean heavy into that because that's like the ultimate equalizer, man. And that's why we've been saying I hope to God we get an academy team in the playoff one year.
Oh, it would be
Because I'm telling you, for one, it would be highly unlikely that they'd get blown out just because of time of possession. And then two, I think they'd give a lot of teams fits. I mean, I know Notre Dame plays Navy every year and they seem to do well with it, but you get a team that's not seen it ever and they're going to try to replicate it in practice and you just can't. You can't do it. But you go all in NIL, dude, and you get a bunch of athletic offensive linemen. You get an athletic quarterback, or you spend on your defense. Freaking shutdown defense. You say, hey, look, you're going to be on this field for 5 possessions a game. Okay? And we're going to keep it for 8 minutes of drive. We're going to go all in on a bunch of 270-pound offensive linemen that can run. We're going to get us a fullback. We're going to get us a really good running back, a really good X or whatever you want to call it, H-back. And we're going to get us a quarterback that can run. And we're going to give freaking Ole Miss and Oregon fits when we go to their place and do it. And when the weather's bad, we're still going to be able to do the damn thing.
No doubt.
Anyway,
well,
we'll see what comes of it. We can hope Oregon. We hope you hope Ole Miss goes and competes. I mean, they got Georgia. Oregon's got Texas Tech. Love to see them. I mean, you ain't gonna run through Georgia. That's just is what it is. More than likely.
I hope Indiana absolutely boat races Alabama.
I do too. That's gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see how the month off affects those 4 teams because again, they all lost last year.
They did. I think teams have kind of learned though. You've seen strategies and coaches talking. Dan Lanning was talking about it. Going into that James Madison
and then this is the first year, of course, Tulane and JMU were the other 2 road teams won, which that didn't happen last year. All the home teams won. So
Sprouse, before we get out of here, if any of these teams the rest of the way get blown out, you better believe there is going to be a level of pettiness from this.
Hey, no doubt.
And I hope JMU Sports News gets on it.
Yeah.
I hope Tulane accounts get on it. Every Group of 5 account gets on it and just beats it to death. I hope
there's gonna be. I mean, there's gonna be at least
100%.
one. You know what I'm saying? There always is, and it's just unfortunate that this year you had 2, not necessarily good games, but close scores in the first 2 games. And so it is what it is, man. But hey, look.
Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody.
That's what I was about to say, Jeff. We won't see you for sure until after Christmas. So I hope everybody has a very, very Merry Christmas. We may see you before the new year, but if not, Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of the college football season. Enjoy these bowl games. We still got plenty of bowl games to go around for everybody. We thank you for one hell of a 2025. From our perspective at the Group of 5 guys and our socials and this podcast, we thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. If you don't already, make sure you hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of 5 guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcast. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. That is all we got for you guys tonight. We're out of here.